जनरञ्जना यशोदानन्दना व्रज जनरञ्जना यमुनतीरावनचारी यमुनतीरावनचारी जय राधा वृंदावन चंद्र राधा वृंदावन चंद्र राधे जय राधे जय राधे जय राधे जय श्री राधे जय वृंदावन धाम वृंदावन धाम वृंदावन धाम जय वृंदावन धाम जय निताई गौरंग निताई गौरंग निताई गौरंग जय निताई गौरंग निताई गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताई गौरा हरि बोल जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 Prabhupada Paramahamsa Parvajikacharya Sota Shri Srimati Divine Grace Abhay Charanarvind Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya BBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Navacharya Shri Das Thakur Ki Jai Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Tai Gaur Premanande Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 1, Questions with the Sages, text number 3. Nigama kalpataroho galitam phalam Nigama kalpataror galitam phalam Nigama kalpataror galitam phalam Shukamukhad Amruta Drava Samyutam Shukhamukad Amruta Drava Samyutam Shukamukhad Amruta Drava Samyutam Pibata Bhagavatam Rasam Alayam Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam Muhuho Aho Rasika Bhuvi Bhavukaha मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलम् शुकमुखादमृतद्रवसंयुतम् पिबत भागवतं रसमालयम् मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलम् शुकमुखादमृतद्रवसंयुतम् पिबत भागवतं रसमालयम् मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः गलितं फलम् Nigama, the Vedic literatures, Kalpataroho, the desire tree, Galitam, fully matured, Phalam, fruit, Shuka, Srila Shukadev Goswami, the original speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam, Mukhat, from the lips of Amruta, nectar, Drava, semi-solid and soft, and therefore easily swallowable. Samyutam, perfect in all respects. Pibata, do relish it. Bhagavatam, the book dealing in the science of the eternal relation with the Lord. Rasam, juice, that which is relishable. Alayam, until liberation, or even in a liberated condition. Muhuho, always. Aho, oh. Rasikaha, those who are full in the knowledge of mellows. Bhuvi, on the earth. Bhavukaha, expert and thoughtful. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O expert and thoughtful men, relish Srimad Bhagavatam, the mature fruit of the desire tree of Vedic literatures. It emanated from the lips of Sri Shukadeva Goswami. Therefore, this fruit has become even more tasteful, although its nectarian juice was already relishable for all, including liberated souls. Kindly repeat. O expert and thoughtful men, relish Srimad Bhagavatam, the mature fruit of the desired tree of Vedic literatures. It emanated from the lips of Sri Shukadeva Goswami. Therefore, this fruit has become even more tasteful, although its nectarian juice was already relishable for all, including liberated souls. We have read some portion of the purport. We'll continue the other portion of the purport today. In this sloka, it is definitely stated that spiritual rasa, which is relished even in the liberated stage, can be experienced in the literature of the Srimad Bhagavatam due to its being the ripened fruit of all Vedic knowledge. By submissively hearing this transcendental literature, one can attain the full pleasure of his heart's desire. But one must be very careful to hear the message from the right source. Srimad Bhagavatam is exactly received from the right source. It was brought by Narada Muni from the spiritual world and given to his disciple Sri Vyasadeva. The latter in turn delivered the message to his son Srila Shukadeva Goswami, and Srila Shukadeva Goswami delivered the message to Maharaj Parikshit just 7 days before the king's death. Srila Shukadeva Goswami was a liberated soul from his very birth. He was liberated even in the womb of his mother, and he did not undergo any sort of spiritual training after his birth. At birth, no one is qualified, neither in the mundane nor in the spiritual sense. But Sri Shukadeva Goswami, due to his being a perfectly liberated soul, did not have to undergo an evolutionary process for spiritual realization. Yet, despite his being a completely liberated person, situated in the transcendental position above the three material modes, he was attracted to this transcendental rasa of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is adored by liberated souls who sing Vedic hymns. The Supreme Lord's pastimes are more attractive to liberated souls than to mundane people. He is of necessity not impersonal, but because it is only possible to carry on transcendental rasa with a person. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, the transcendental pastimes of the Lord are narrated, and the narration is systematically depicted by Srila Shukadeva Goswami. Thus, the subject matter is appealing to all classes of persons, including those who seek liberation and those who seek to become one with the Supreme Whole. In Sanskrit, the parrot is also known as shuka. When a ripened fruit is cut by the red beaks of such birds, its sweet flavor is enhanced. The Vedic fruit, which is mature and ripe in knowledge, is spoken through the lips of Srila Shukadeva Goswami, who is compared to the parrot not for his ability to recite the Bhagavatam exactly as he heard it from his learned father, but for his ability to present the work in a manner that would appeal to all classes of men. The subject matter is so presented through the lips of Srila Shukadeva Goswami that any sincere listener that hears submissively can at once relish transcendental tastes which are distinct from the perverted tastes of the material world. The ripened fruit is not dropped all of a sudden from the highest planet of Krishnaloka. Rather, it has come down carefully through the chain of disciplic succession without change or disturbance. Foolish people who are not in the transcendental disciplic succession commit great blunders by trying to understand the highest transcendental rasa, known as the rasa dance, without following in the footsteps of Shukadeva Goswami, who presents this fruit very carefully by stages of transcendental realization. One should be intelligent enough to know the position of Srimad Bhagavatam by considering personalities like Shukadeva Goswami, who deals with the subject so carefully. This process of disciplic succession of the Bhagavata school suggests that in the future also Srimad Bhagavatam has to be understood from a person who is factually a representative of Srila Shukadeva Goswami. A professional man who makes a business out of reciting the Bhagavatam illegally is certainly not a representative of Shukadeva Goswami. Such a man's business is only to earn his livelihood. Therefore, one should refrain from hearing the lectures of such professional men. Such men usually go to the most confidential part of the literature without understanding the gradual process of understanding this grave subject. They usually plunge into the subject matter of the rasa dance, which is misunderstood by the foolish class of men. Some of them take this to be immoral, while others try to cover it up by their own stupid interpretations. They have no desire to follow in the footsteps of Srila Shukadeva Goswami. One should conclude, therefore, that the serious student of the rasa should receive the message of Bhagavatam in the chain of disciplic succession from Srila Shukadeva Goswami, who describes the Bhagavatam from its very beginning and not whimsically to satisfy the mundaner who has very little knowledge in transcendental science. Srimad Bhagavatam is so carefully presented that a sincere and serious person can at once enjoy the ripened fruit of Vedic knowledge simply by drinking the nectarian juice through the mouth of Shukadeva Goswami or his bona fide representative. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. The first three verses in this chapter 1 is a prelude, introduction to the entire voluminous literature called Srimad Bhagavatam. These three verses are actually, in one sense, prayers offered by Vyasadeva, trying to make us understand what is the Srimad Bhagavatam. The first verse began with Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vasudeva, Lord Krishna, is that personality who is the supreme absolute truth. There is no truth beyond Lord Krishna, Vasudeva. So the first sloka, in one sense, is a prayer, which is actually giving us the complete description of who is absolute truth. Understanding that verse properly, you will know what is absolute truth. In the second verse, which Vyasadeva has spoken, was giving the characteristics of Srimad Bhagavatam. What is Srimad Bhagavatam? Srimad Bhagavatam has no other description other than Supreme Personality of Godhead, and this is the highest dharma. Any other cheating religions are completely taken away or wiped out from this Bhagavatam. And this is only meant for Paramo Nirmatsaranam Satam. Only meant for those pure devotees who are free from all envy. And this Bhagavatam was compiled by Vyasadeva during his after his compilation of all the Vedic literatures, when he had attained maturity. Right? In his complete mature situation, this Bhagavatam was compiled, and one who is sincerely hearing this Bhagavatam, Prabhupada is repeating, in these last few purports and even today's purport, should carefully, submissively receive Bhagavatam. Submissively means we should not have some biased, preconceived ideas in our mind and try to hear Bhagavatam and try to judge those instructions or whatever teaching from Bhagavatam from our already existing ideas. Just hear. That is called submissiveness. Right? So, this is what second verse was telling, giving a wonderful description, the glories of Bhagavatam. And in today's verse, Srila Vyasadeva is telling us the wonderful aspect of Bhagavatam, why it is so relishable. Right? Bhagavatam actually was compiled after Vyasadeva had written all the Vedic literatures, all the Vedas, Puranas, Itihasas, Upanishads, everything was compiled. We'll see the history of Bhagavatam later. But right now, you have to get an understanding, what is this Bhagavatam? Bhagavatam is the, as it is mentioned here, Nigama Kalpataror Galitam Phalam. The Vedic literatures are compared to Kalpataru. Kalpataru means desired tree. Whatever you want, you will get it. Prabhupada gives an example. In the material world, we have example of specific tree giving specific fruit, a specific requirement you want. A mango tree can give you a mango fruit. But you go to mango tree and ask for apple, it will not give. Whereas there are trees known as Kalpataru or desire tree in the spiritual world, wherein they can give everything to you. Prabhupada says they can give you, when you go and ask samosa, they will give you samosa also. So like this, anything what can be given is called desire tree, and such trees are there in spiritual world. So these Vedic literatures, the vast Vedic literatures, are compared to Kalpataru or desire tree, because Prabhupada says every field, every domain of human activities, right? Like politics, sociology, religion, economics, military, medical, chemical, physical, metaphysical, everything is covered in this. So it is called Vedic Encyclopedia. And also, more importantly, Prabhupada says, above all, there is specific directions for spiritual realization. So all this was described in all the Vedic literatures. But Vyasadeva had not specifically given the direct path of bhakti, because of which he was feeling incomplete. He was dissatisfied. So under the instruction of his spiritual master, Narada Muni, Vyasadeva started compiling Bhagavatam, which is actually the essence of all Vedic literatures. That's why it is mentioned here, Galitam Phalam. From a tree, what do you expect? You expect a ripened fruit. Right? Galitam Phalam. Galitam means ripened. So this Bhagavatam in that sense is the ripened fruit of the entire Vedic literature. The mature fruit of the entire Vedic literature, the desired tree of Vedic literature. And specifically, it is mentioned, this is very relishable. Why? Because when a fruit is ordinarily ripened, nowadays it has become very common that they are ripening artificially by some chemicals. They are not so tasty. Whereas fruits which are ripened on the tree are much tastier. And furthermore, we get information from Vedic literatures that when the fruit is actually taken, little portion of it is taken by the parrot, shuka, it will become even more tasteful. Right? So, specific in that way, we can see here, Shukamukhad Amrita Drava Samyutam. This Bhagavatam is already very relishable, very tasty. And even more it has become tasteful. Why? Because Shukadeva Goswami's lotus mouths, he is giving this or narrating this Bhagavatam. Shukamukhad Amrita Drava Samyutam. Samyutam means, Prabhupada says, perfect in all respects. Right? And when the fruit is nicely ripened, properly ripened, just ready for tasting, it's very relishable. Right? So like this Bhagavatam is spoken by Shukadeva Goswami. It is very relishable. Even though Bhagavatam is already relishable, it has become even more relishable because of Shukadeva Goswami's wonderfully narrating the whole Bhagavatam. And here in this specific verse, Vyasadeva is recommending that we should drink this juice. Juice of what? This juice, rasam. From a fruit, what do you expect? Juice, right? So this juice of Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam. To drink this juice of Bhagavatam, the qualification required is you should be liberated. Alayam, Prabhupada is translating. Alayam means liberated. Even in a liberated condition. Of course, Bhagavatam is relishable for anybody, but it is even more relishable when you are in a liberated condition. Liberation means free from these three modes of nature, the conditions of birth, death, old age, disease. Krishna explains what is liberation in Bhagavad Gita. Jara marana mokshaya mam ashritta yatantiye. Te brahma tadvidu krishnam. Tadvidu krishnam. We are always entangled in birth, death, old age, disease. But once we take shelter of Krishna, we become free from this birth, death, old age, disease. That is called liberation. So, when you come to this stage, you understand everything. Te brahma tadvidu krishnam adhyatmam karma chakilam. You understand everything about material and spiritual activities perfectly, Krishna says. So, it is even more relishable. So, Bhagavatam should be, the nectarian juice of Bhagavatam should be drunk like this. So, further, it is being nicely explained here that expert and thoughtful men, bhavukaha. In this earth, expert and thoughtful men who are in full knowledge of this rasa, taste, mellows, they are again and again drinking this Bhagavatam. You see, you drink again and again, you relish more and more, more and more. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, in the very first Shikshashtaka, Pratipadam Purnamrita Swadanam Anandambudi Vardhanam. The experience in spiritual happiness is such that there is more and more you relish, more and more you want to experience, more and more you want to relish. That's how it is. There is no limit for happiness which one experiences in spiritual realm. Every step there is happiness. As Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita also, Susukam kartum avyayam. It's very happily performed. So this is Bhagavatam, wonderful literature, which was compiled in the maturity of Vyasadeva for our benefit. So specifically here, Prabhupada is trying to explain to us, in the material realm, the mundane world, we're all trying to experience happiness. Right? Life means happiness. You want happiness. You want to enjoy things around us. But how to experience happiness, how to enjoy happiness is what is, we don't know. We are trying to experience happiness in a perverted way, Prabhupada says. Right? Everybody is trying to experience happiness in various activities. Right? In every activity we perform, we want to get some pleasure out of it. This is called rasa. And the Bhagavatam is going to give us the understanding of what is the original rasa, original taste. Rasa means taste, mellow, the experience of happiness. Right? In fact, Bhagavatam is a compilation of rasa tattva. Rasa tattva means the truth of actual experience of happiness, which as a soul, spirit soul, Prabhupada says, constitutionally we are supposed to experience all these things. And Lord Krishna is the source of all rasas. Akhila rasa amrita. Is also known as Rasika Shekhara. He is relishing these exchanges of rasas with all his wonderful devotees in the spiritual world. In the material world, we are trying to experience pleasure or taste different relationships in a different way, in a perverted way, which is all, as Prabhupada says, it is temporary, limited, and it is ending with distress. Right? Whereas spiritual rasa, or the experience of real taste, which is supposed to be from our spirit soul with Lord Krishna, is amrita. Bhakti rasa is amrita. That's why it's known as Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Rupa Goswami, it is mentioned in the Nectar of Devotion towards the end. Rupa Goswami took almost 12 years to study all the Vedic literatures thoroughly and compile a literature which is having this rasa tattva. And he brought out the wonderful literature called Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which Prabhupada has very nicely summarized and commented upon that literature, known as Nectar of Devotion. Prabhupada says Nectar of Devotion is the law book. It is going to give us how to conduct ourselves in devotional service. Why understanding this rasa tattva is important? Because in everything what we do, we are trying to look for happiness. But we don't know where to look for happiness, in what way we are supposed to look for happiness. That is the problem. So Bhagavatam and the literatures compiled by the Goswamis is going to give us the understanding what is the actual way that we are supposed to look for happiness. As spirit souls, we are all Satchidananda, eternal, full of knowledge, and always blissful. But right now, this aspect of Satchidananda we want to project on material objects and expecting that the material objects will respond with our expectations. I want this body to continue forever, eternally, because my existence is eternal. But body will not last. It's going to finish one day. Right? I want to know everything, but things in the material world, it is full of achit. It is ignorant. And I want to experience happiness in every transaction, every dealing, but it is full of misery, dukkhalaya, ashashvata. Right? So, Bhagavatam is trying to give us this wonderful exposition and understanding that don't look for these false things in the material world. This was already hinted out in the very first sloka of this chapter, that tejo vari mridam yatha vinimayo yatra tisargom risha. We are taking this material world, which is actually illusory, as factual. In the desert, when you see in the distance, there is an appearance of water. But actually when you go there, there is no water. So in the material world, there is a feeling or an illusion of happiness. But actually there is no happiness, real happiness. You run, chase. Finally you go there, no happiness. You are ended with frustration. Right? Krishna explains, Moghasha, Moga Karmanu, Moga Jnana Vichetasaha. All your desires, all your plans, all your activities to run or chase for happiness is ending with frustration, disappointment. It is material world. Whereas, with regard to spiritual existence, a little endeavor you do, Krishna is going to award you unlimited happiness, because Krishna is the source of all happiness and the source of all rasas. He is waiting to exchange this rasa with us. Right? So, we get a very wonderful example in Bhagavatam when Vidura met Uddhava during his pilgrimage. He happened to ask Uddhava many questions about the well-being of the various family members and relatives, friends in Dwarka and Hastinapura, because he was not there. He had gone for a pilgrimage. And after he has asked questions, Uddhava becomes very much bhavukaha. Right? He becomes very much ecstatic to hear about Krishna again. And the questions which Vidura has asked, he starts explaining how Krishna's wonderful qualities. In one of the wonderful explanations. Uddhava says, Aho bakiyam stanakala kutam. Krishna's extreme mercy. How Krishna is so compassionate upon even those people or those entities who become envious of him, who want to come and kill him. He becomes, he's showing his extreme compassion, extreme mercy. Baki means Putana. Aho bakiyam stanakala kutam. This Putana, she had two brothers, Bakasura and Aghasura. So she had smeared her breast with Kalakutam. Kalakuta means deadly poison. Even if you touch little, you are dead. That deadly poison she had smeared with the intention of killing Krishna. She had dressed herself as a mother, as a nurse, Dhatri. So she had dressed herself as a mother and she came to, intention was to kill Krishna. Krishna sucked her milk as well as her life air. So Prabhupada explains how this demon Putana did not know Krishna in any situation is Krishna always. And even after killing Putana, in fact it's not called killing, he liberated her. Because he saw she had a little service attitude of motherly nature. She wanted to feed Krishna. The least qualification she had, and Krishna gave her the highest reward. He elevated Putana to the highest position. This is Krishna's extreme mercy, daya. Whereas in material understanding we see somebody has come to harm you or he wants to create disturbance with you, disturbance to you, you become very agitated. You want to take revenge. You become envious. You are seeing how, we can get rid of that person. This is material way of dealing. See, that's the whole point. Bhagavatam is explaining that in the material realm, we are having our interactions, dealings, rasa vinimaya. But all of them are material, mundane. In terms of anger, in terms of, whatever it is. Mercy, all are material. Just like Prabhupada says, you may want to show compassion on the common people by opening hospitals or some dharmashalas, medical aid, giving free food. But all it is material, mundane. Because limited to only body. Not going to last. Right? Whereas Bhagavatam explains, Acharyas explain that anything connected with Krishna, done in an authoritative manner, as per the Guru Sadhu Shastra, is spiritual. It's going to have a long-lasting, permanent effect. Right? Amrita effect. That's the point. So, this is what Prabhupada is trying to tell us here, that unless you come to this platform of understanding that having relationship with Krishna, which already we have, that relationship is forgotten now. To revive that relationship and have that exchange of Krishna's wonderful reciprocation of rasa vinimaya, is what we are supposed to be doing. And to understand all this rasa tattva for the modern age, modern people, modern society is not easy. That's why Prabhupada, he traveled across the globe and wanted to give this highest understanding of rasa tattva by telling people, just chant Hare Krishna. Because when you chant Hare Krishna, you are going to associate with Krishna. You chant and hear, Krishna is with you, is ready to have exchange of rasa with you. Otherwise, going through Vedic literatures, purification and going through so many processes step by step, not easy for Kali Yuga. So you just associate with Krishna, he will start purifying you. Shinvatam Sakatha Krishna, Punya Shravana Kirtana. Just start chanting and hearing about Krishna. Then you start purification. Once purification starts, then slowly Krishna will manifest all the, jnana, divya jnana hriday prakashito. Then everything will be manifest, step by step, step by step. One important warning Prabhupada is giving in the purport, repeatedly he has been telling in the last portion of this purport, what we read today, that we have to receive this message from the authoritative source. Because authoritative source have taken great care. Prabhupada is using the word carefully many times in this purport today. Why? Because if you are careless while driving, you may meet with an accident. Right? If you are careless while walking, you may slip off. So we have to be carefully, this message of Vedic literatures has been coming down carefully in the parampara, evam parampara praptam, in the disciplic succession. So we have to take knowledge from, or rather take hear from the parampara. Not that everybody is talking and we will hear. Now, Prabhupada is repeatedly making this point in many of his teachings, that we have to take this understanding from the right source, authoritative source. Brahma, when he has received this knowledge from Lord Krishna, he gave it to his son Narada. Narada passed on this knowledge to his disciple Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva to Shukadeva Goswami. And Prabhupada says in one context, first time this Bhagavatam, in what the form of Bhagavatam, what we are familiar, was spoken by Shukadeva Goswami to Parikshit and all the assembled sages. Because he had heard from his father Vyasadeva. Publicly it was spoken first time by Shukadeva Goswami. And it is all publicly distributed all over the world by Srila Prabhupada. Everybody is able to access this, either in book form or electronically now. Right? So this is the way we are supposed to receive knowledge. Prabhupada says we have to receive this Bhagavata in this way, and Prabhupada is making a very nice prediction. This process of disciplic succession of the Bhagavata school suggests that in the future also Srimad Bhagavatam has to be understood from a person who is factually a representative of Srila Shukadeva Goswami. Why it is stressed so much? Because unless you hear Bhagavatam from a right source, you cannot enter into that realm of rasa tattva. As Prabhupada's Guru Maharaj often gave the example, a bottle of honey, you go on licking outside. Oh, maybe little it is sticking outside. Oh, very tasty, very tasty. Unless you open the lid and put your finger and taste that nectar of the honey, how will you relish Bhagavatam? Likewise, unless you hear Bhagavatam from the right source, the right way, you will never taste. You will only be externally, licking the bottle. You will not enter into the truth or the wonderful realm of Bhagavatam. Right? And specifically, Prabhupada is trying to give us the wonderful revelation here that Bhagavatam, when it is properly received in the disciplic succession, and you also submissively hear, attentively hear, and try to repeatedly hear. Three things Prabhupada says. Submissive, attentive, and repetition. Not that once I have read Bhagavatam over. Repeatedly hear. There are descriptions in Chaitanya Charitamrita wherein great devotees of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, pure devotees, they used to recite Bhagavatam every day. Right? There is example of one great devotee, I think it is Garadhar Pandit. He used to recite Bhagavatam in 3 different tunes every day. So like this, Bhagavatam is a literature which requires repetition. Why repetition? Because there are so many conceptions in our mind, which is all in that conception we are perceiving things in a wrong way. Wrong perceptions are happening. So we have to replace those wrong conceptions and wrong perceptions with right perceptions, right conceptions of what is our actual existence. That is the reason. Right? So Prabhupada is very nicely concluding, Srimad Bhagavatam is so carefully presented that a sincere and serious person can at once enjoy the ripened fruit of Vedic knowledge simply by drinking the nectarian juice through the mouth of Shakudeva Goswami or his bona fide representatives. You have to enter into that realm of what Bhagavatam is. We are supposed to relish Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam relishing will happen when you, as Prabhupada says, sincere, serious person. Every day, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, every day we have to hear Bhagavatam and try to contemplate on subject matter. And that way, by Guru Krishna Prasada, we can enter into the realm of Bhagavatam. So this verse specifically is describing about the wonderful glories of Bhagavatam, how when you actually receive Bhagavatam in the discipline succession, you can also become liberated. Right? That's the point. So we'll close here. Anybody has anything to ask? Any questions? Clarifications? Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki